Okay, sources for paper number 2. For the purpose of this paper, we're going to use the terms primary and secondary for your sources. A primary source or primary research is going to be research that you do yourself where you gather the data yourself. So that would be the interviews that you conduct and or the surveys you conduct. Because remember, you are looking at a policy in your community. You're looking at a problem that is in your community. Okay, sources for paper number 2, which is the community health policy paper, where you find the problem in your community and you propose a policy to fix it. For the purpose of this paper, we're going to use the terms primary and secondary for your sources. Primary sources would be the sources you went out and found yourself, in the sense that it's the data you collected yourself, not finding somebody else's research, finding somebody else's article. It's the data you collected through your surveys and or your interviews. So that is when I refer to primary, what I'm talking about. It's what you actually went out and did yourself. Then the secondary sources would be the articles, books, whatever else it might be, whether it's a policy that already exists, a law that exists, anything like that would be a secondary source for your paper. So when you look at what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to actually take a look at it right here on my computer screen. So on our Sakai site, if you go under Unit 2, you'll see that there are, and go under Evaluating Sources, you have the CRAP test available. And if you haven't looked at the CRAP test yet, what that is a way of evaluating your secondary sources. Not the primary ones, that's the one stuff you're getting yourself, but the secondary sources, that the articles and the books and things like that you'll be using. So you need to be answering these questions for your secondary sources, and once you're done answering them, then you need to basically state whether or not you think this source is still a valid source. So if you go through the CRAP test and find that maybe this source isn't so credible, then that's fine. Then you have to find a new source. But go ahead and still include that CRAP test. Even if it comes out like that you do have a crappy source, that's okay. I still want to see that CRAP test for it. Then you just know to get rid of that source and find a new one. So that's what you're going to do for the CRAP test. There are going to be different assignments for each one of these. So under assignments, when you're looking at them, there's Community Health Policy Preliminary Reference Page. And the preliminary reference page, that would be your secondary sources, because primary sources do not go on the reference page. Only regular books, articles, things like that go on the reference page. Anything that you do yourself, whether it's the survey or the interview, or both, are considered personal communication. That's how they'll be listed, how they'll be cited in the text, and they're not put onto the reference page. So Community Health Policy, the preliminary reference page, when you open that, there's a description. It says, create a preliminary reference page for your sources. Be sure to use proper APA format. So that's one thing that is in there. I'm going to go back to the list. And then it says Community Health Policy, Primary Research Description and Questions. So what that part is who do you plan to survey or interview? And what questions do you plan to ask? And I need to know this because I need to be able to give you feedback on those questions to make sure that they're accurate, that they're not leading the people you're asking the questions to give the answer that you want, in the sense that, like, let's say you want them to choose A or B, and somehow you write it so that they will most likely choose A because that's what you want. We have to just make sure that these are fair, unbiased questions. And so I need you to submit them to me first before you actually go and interview people, so I can take a look at them. And if there's anything wrong with them, I will let you know, like if you need to revise them. So that's what that is. So you're going to put that in there, who you're going to survey, and then what are the questions. And then there's one more, Community Health Policy CRAP test. So that one is I want you to actually do the CRAP test for the sources that you put on your preliminary I'm thinking MLA, on your preliminary references page in APA. So that is what I'm talking about sources. So I hope that makes a little more sense. You have primary and secondary. The primary ones are going to be those ones you get yourself, the surveys and interviews. For that, you need to describe what you're going to do, like who your audience is going to be, who you're going to talk, who you're going to survey, and or who you're going to interview, and you need to put your questions on there. Then for the secondary sources, for the articles and books and things like that, you need to create a preliminary references page in APA format and do the CRAP test for each one of those. Now, the CRAP test is an assignment in and of itself. The reference page is an assignment in and of itself, and then the primary research description and questions is an assignment in and of itself. So you have 3 assignments related to the sources for this particular paper. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. They are all available under assignments, and they're also all available under Unit 2 under the paper. Okay?